All right. So, Jack, we are trying a new system. Speaking of taking risks and letting things get messy, so that we can speak to more people on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and YouTube and all that stuff. Um, and we're going to be chatting today about personal leadership because last week, well, we've been talking a lot about entrepreneurship in the
Mhm.
last few weeks. But essentially, everything we're talking about can be implemented anywhere. So even if you have a job or you're in the workplace and you might not necessarily want to jump into entrepreneurship, but you can feel that you have the entrepreneurial spirit. We kind of want to talk about how you can implement the entrepreneurial spirit anywhere, which and the term that often is used for that is called intrapreneurship. So it's like bringing entrepreneurship inside of whatever you're doing, wherever you are. So Jack, I know that personal leadership is like your thing. Do you want to just kind of tell us a little bit about your thoughts about personal leadership?
Yeah, sure. Actually, it was the concept that I created for myself when I thought that launching a business as is by your own is entrepreneurship. And then I realized that no, it's the way we think, because I met a lot of team members, employees who are working within a large enterprise but thinking as entrepreneurs, who were able to scale their work, scale the work of their company, and made it up to become partners later on. So they didn't, start from scratch, but they started from the other side and got to have their own business. So I started thinking about all the people who have this personal leadership mindset that I need to lead myself. I don't need to ask always someone to tell me what to do. I have the common sense to know what to do and to lead myself. And I started, having that in details as steps. So I split that into 8 aspects, and that includes your health, your mindset, your mental health, your career, your financial statement, your financial situation. So you need to lead all the aspects of your life in order to keep your mind clear to think as an entrepreneur. Of course, you have all the obstacles in the world to face, but as long as you have that common sense to lead your life in all these aspects, that would be a winning point wherever you are, even if you're starting your own business or you're working within an organization. I have an example of a man. I was in the youth activity, and I remember an old man coming to us. We were preparing in the neighborhood. We were preparing some stuff, and suddenly an old man came and told us, he didn't even ask, he's just starting helping us and start realizing what is better to be done to help us. And he did it in 1 hour. He helped us, like, did almost all the work, and he just left. We didn't know his name as well. And
Wow.
I brought that idea that we have to always be ready to do what we see right,
Yeah.
whether if it's in our life or other lives. And this is exactly the same in business. Whenever you think that you need to help others, whenever they have a challenge or an obstacle or a task to do, this is where you feel that you are leading yourself toward helping others and creating that bubble. I mean, entrepreneurship is not just about working alone. It's about solving your problems, not being procrastinating, or not relying maybe on others to solve your problems, but at the same time to find ways, to find solutions to do that. So the personal leadership is all these aspects, and everything you feel that you have to do to move forward, then you need to work on it and make sure that you know what you're doing. And that just needs some skills and some commitment in doing that. It's not a magical thing to do. I mean, the result is magical, yes, but to do it, you don't need magic. You just need consistency and commitment.
Yeah. And I agree, like you said, if we just kind of tap in and listen, we know intuitively what to do next. Like that personal leadership is something that's very innate in all of us. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that the other thing is we often, um, I feel like this even more in the workplace. We often underestimate our ideas or the thoughts or the solutions that we might have, and people tend to keep them inside of themselves because they're like, well,
Mm-hmm.
no, like my boss is not going to agree with this, or no, like this is not going to make sense, or who am I to share this idea? But if you don't just like step forward and share, like this man did, I love that story. Um, it's almost like people are missing out on a potential solution or idea or something that could move things forward. So I think it's really important to not underestimate the ideas that come to you. And again, it's about like not worrying so much about the result or how it's going to be received, but it's just like taking the risk, putting it out there, trying it, see how people respond. Um, because your idea or your thought or this thing that you feel like you want to do could be like groundbreaking for your company or your team or anyone you're working with, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Especially when you have the ideas. I mean, ideas are very important, but not when it's stuck in your mind and you're not just showing it, not
Right.
just to talk about it. Maybe talking about it helps you to shape your idea to improve it, but
Yeah.
then to start acting. I mean, all the knowledge in the world is useless if you don't use it. I mean, we we've been studying for, I don't know, we go to school and university for 20 years, 22 years, and then we finish our studies and then ask what now. And this
Right.
is weird actually, because the education system should be toward implementation and toward value more than absorbing knowledge. I hope this is changing now, but I didn't see any value in just studying and learning and getting information, because anyway all the information can change in a second. After COVID, we had a revolution of information, of the quality of information that we have,
Yeah.
because it wasn't working. I mean, especially in health. I mean, seriously, we're investing all time and money in many ways, and then and the pandemic can hold the whole world back just because we're helpless. And in many ways, even in education and in all other aspects in the economy, we were suffering, as governments, as entities, as businesses. I think the only category of people who were happy, I mean, not happy because of the pandemic, but were actually fine with the crisis, were
Yeah.
the entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
because it was a question for us: what are we doing wrong, and how can we turn the crisis into an opportunity?
Yeah.
And this is personal leadership, to take the lead. Not okay, so as an entrepreneur, it's not just okay, I have a business, let's benefit more during the crisis. No, I need to start asking questions to
Yeah.
know how to lead myself, my skills, my questions, my critical thinking, toward providing more solutions to the world, toward my environment, to my personal life, to the others, to my clients, to my family, to my country, to the world. These
Yeah.
are all questions that we keep asking ourselves every day. So yeah, this is what I like actually. And the crisis I like about entrepreneurship and personal leadership is, in the crisis we start thinking. We don't get panic.
Mhm. Yeah, because panic keeps us away from like our wisdom, really, and I agree. I think the pandemic was such a perfect example of this, because there was like two groups of people. There was the people that just let themselves be like swept up by that wave of fear, and that group of people, there was no space for like finding solutions or seeing how we could function differently in the
Yeah.
world. And that it comes from just being attached to your current way of doing things. And I think in order to be able to step into your personal leadership, you need to be willing to always question how you're doing things. You need to be willing to always be curious about how you could do things differently, how you could do things better. What if we did this? What if we tried this? And not being so attached to like I think, in life and in business, yes, we need to be consistent, but we also need to break some rules so that we can innovate, anything that we're doing. And that's what I mean. Life is evolution. Like that we're built and meant to evolve. And so if we're not evolving, then we're just kind of, it's like that hamster in the wheel, just turning in the same place.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of us want to experience great things in our lives. A lot of us want to, like, we have these like dreams of these lives that we want to live, or these jobs that we want to have. And all of that is accessible only through personal leadership and like you said, just leading the way towards the thing that you want to experience, not waiting for someone else to do it. And I think we live a lot in a society where we're waiting for the next person to fix the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just nothing comes from that. And also it's a very disempowering way to show up, because you have then no say in how things evolve, right?
Yeah, I agree. And it's interesting, by the way, when we start in the beginning of becoming an entrepreneur, we have always, I mean, yes, we do think about an idea, about changing the world, about something that we want to do by our own, but we always have that freedom of time and money in our mind when we start. But this is again, I don't want to, I don't want to burn this step, because it's important to think about the freedom of time and money that you have. You
Yeah.
have to still face it, but I don't want to, I don't want you to face it as someone who is, I mean, talking to entrepreneurs who are starting now or shifting from their employment to becoming entrepreneurs. I don't want you to waste 5 years to realize that it's not about money and time. I mean, you might end up, working 24/7. It's not about time freedom that you're not working, but it's about, choosing that you want to work that time. It's not that you're forced to. This is one. Two, about the money, it is a result. Okay, we always listen maybe to podcasts or videos for people who made it, and they always saying it's not about money, it's about the value, and the money comes later. It is about money. I'm sure that you need the income to survive and to grow and to give yourself the lifestyle that you want as an entrepreneur. When you're getting tired after 10-20 years, maybe you want to have that sweet result. But at the same time, when we think about the income, about the numbers, we don't think about the value and the solutions that we need to focus on. I mean, and this is why I encourage everyone who's starting this journey to start very small in terms of income. The money is really important to survive, to build the business, to survive, to improve your lifestyle. But at the same time, you should be sacrificing the first couple of maybe months or years to make a bigger step later. Because I've seen, many people starting the journey after 1-2 years, they are just, spending their money on not reinvesting, not improving their solutions, and ending up to become the line that is not going up in
Yeah.
terms of their improvement. And at the end, after many years, it starts declining.
Right.
And it's very, very important to focus on that. So reinvest your efforts, reinvest your income. It's fine to live below your means in the beginning. I mean, a couple of years, it's fine, even if you have expenses. But try to make sure that you're focusing on the business system that you're creating, whether it's a business or an initiative or an NGO or a nonprofit, social enterprise, whatever your project is. Just focus on the value and the system that you're creating with that effort, and not the result, the direct result, which is money and time freedom.
Yeah, I agree. I'm curious, who is someone that you admire that is like a really good example of great personal leadership?
Actually, the concept, I mean, as an entrepreneur, you can go and see like hundreds of people who are doing that. But as a personal leadership, you cannot find a public or someone who already made it, because it's more about their personal
Right.
skills, something that you do personally, and you don't necessarily share it exactly as it is with the word.
Yeah.
But I think every entrepreneur who made it had those skills
Yeah.
somehow, even if you don't put it under a title, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you check the online influencers now, who made it as entrepreneurs, I mean, not just being influencers. Gary Vee would be an example who made it, you know, on Instagram and on LinkedIn, I guess. And in order to do that, he went through all these difficulties. I mean, at least what he's sharing usually in his journey. Um, and I think every person who made it from scratch or from a crisis that he or she had in their journey, they had those skills. I
Yeah.
mean, even if it's not under the title of personal leadership, but it is, you know. I
Yeah.
mean, personal leadership, it's not a concept. It's a set of skills that you need to have in order to lead yourself, to lead your life.
Yeah.
And you need coaching sometimes. You need business systems. You need, you need a lot of knowledge to, I mean, to be self learner, self awareness. It's not like just have this. It's not a gift, you know.
Yeah.
It's something you need to work on.
Yeah.
Did you have anyone in mind when you asked?
I mean, there was all kinds of people coming to mind for me because, as you were saying, like it's not always just entrepreneurs. You know, there's like there's Gandhi and Mother Teresa and Oprah, and for me, one of my favorite is Richard Branson. He's always been such a role model for me, like in business and in terms of personal leadership. And you're right. All of these people, I think, stepped into their personal leadership from a place of crisis. And I know that's what happened for me also. Like the reason why I started to step into my personal leadership is because I just didn't feel like I fit in anywhere, you know,
Yeah.
hated school. I couldn't fit into any job for the life of me. I couldn't keep any job. I was miserable, literally doing everything. And so that was a crisis for me. And I had no choice but to be like, well, I'm going to have to create the thing that makes me happy, because these little boxes that, society has created for us, I'm not comfortable there. I'm not happy, or I don't feel expansive there. So that was my big crisis that really, I would say, initiated my personal leadership. And it has never stopped ever since, because it's just a continual journey of like creating the life or the work or the experiences or the change that I want to see,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's so many people that, like just even this man that you're talking about, like that's totally like a really good example of personal leadership. And when I think about, I don't know why, and I don't know if there's a relation here, but when you were talking about this man, I immediately like remembered Ikigai. I feel like this man in that moment was just doing his Ikigai. He was just in his Ikigai zone, probably doing what he loved, that was helping people. Well, actually, he didn't do it for money, so maybe that doesn't count. But anyway, yeah.
I mean, there are some people who are doing what they love and starting their journey, but it's not for any income. I mean, any financial income. But,
Right.
noting they do have their income generation.
Yeah.
So imagine if you love teaching. I mean, I love teaching. I go and do teaching in some, schools sometimes, universities, but where I live, I mean, in Beirut, it's not like the career on the financial that improves your financial situation or bring you the enough income that you need.
Right.
So instead, I just do that because I love it,
Yeah.
and to help others, shape their knowledge, to change that kind of knowledge that I'm not sure if there's another word for hate. I hate that education system because
Yeah.
it's actually ruining the world.
Yeah.
It's not the education itself, the system. Because education is everything. But
Yeah.
every time I start this conversation with someone, some people are aware of that and they are miserable, and some people are not aware of that and they are just going with the flow and waiting to finish university and just try to find any job
Yeah.
and get the job because of their network, because they are in a fancy university, or get the job because they know someone, or get the job because they have a lot of grades. And this is not how you get your dream job or what you love, you know?
Mm.
This is the wrong way, totally the wrong way. So instead, I would just give like 2 hours of personal leadership in that university, and I would change it all. So why are we're not doing that? I mean, I was in contact with many, professors in universities, trying to do that and tell them that please do that session or invite me to do it. I do it for free.
Mm.
I just want to see that change, because I see it in, interns who come to our company, and they just learn everything in 2 months. The thing that they should learn in 4 years, 5 years in the university. Is that serious? I
Yeah.
mean, what are you doing 4 years? I mean,
Yeah.
I could help those students build an empire in 4 years.
Yeah.
What are you doing? So yeah, some people or some professors can understand that, and the
Yeah.
others, some universities, unfortunately, it's a kind of business for them. It's just a business. I mean, it can still be a business. It's fine, you can just say it. It is a business, but at least that business should be human centered, and it should fulfill the mission of that business, which is providing the right education to a
Yeah.
better career, not for the best job that you can get because of your network and your I don't know what. Um, this is it. So we just change some ideas, and that's it. And then continue the education, the 4 years. If we do that in the first year, that would be
Mhm.
amazing. I mean, there's a lot of sessions that they do to do the orientation or somehow, but it's always like promoting the same kind of road. So yeah.
You know, you're so right about this, like 2 years or 2 months versus 4 years thing. And I think as I was hearing you speak, the difference in like being able to implement and move things forward faster is the action piece. Because in university, we're not taking action, we're just sitting digesting all kinds of information for 4 years, and that's what's so beautiful about the entrepreneurial world, and probably why we're both in it, because we can just like move, like we can experience things and get things going and create change and impact really quickly. um, so I would say to anyone who's listening, where you're feeling like maybe stuck, or like things are not moving, like you're wanting to see something happen and it's not moving, see how much action you're taking in what you're doing. Because really, when you just like get your hands dirty and like just go in and take some risks and take some action and start trying, that's when momentum starts to build. So I think that was a really, really good point. And I'm kind of feeling like, I know next week, I won't be there. I think you might be doing this, a chat. So I don't know what your topic will be next week, but the following week, just because I love it so much, and I think it would be helpful for people. I think it would be fun to talk about ikigai.
Oh yeah.
It would be so fun to talk about ikigai. I think it would be a really great way to help people define like where they're at their best, where they can make their biggest impact, and maybe help people get some clarity on like what to do next. If you're willing, Jack, 'cause I
Oh
know.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I've done many workshops like about ikigai, and it's always life changing. I mean, in workshops you can get closer to the audience, but I'm sure in the live we would inspire a lot of people to reshape and knock down some barriers that they have, because
Yeah.
we are afraid of changing. Our current situation, our current job, our current sometimes we're afraid to ask our question, what do we want or what do we love to do? um, and yeah, accordingly we tend to just ignore and continue what we're doing, our comfort zone, which is our job, our family, whatever we're doing. And the fact is that we are just shifting the way our perspective of doing things. It's not leaving our jobs, it's not leaving our comfort zone. We can stay there, but it's like, imagine like you're on a comfort zone, like a small farm, and you're
Uh-huh.
just going, having an exit for a while and coming back to build something else outside. it's somehow like this. So
Yeah.
if someone is listening, just don't afraid to come to the next session.
Yeah.
The Ikigai session, it's amazing because it will give you other alternatives to
Yeah.
do what you love. Yeah.
I agree. So that sounds like a good plan. Well, I think, do you feel complete with the personal leadership for today?
Yeah, I guess. I'm not sure if anyone is watching on LinkedIn, if we have any questions.
I don't
But
see any questions yet.
yeah, people are watching this later. It's the
Yeah.
live for 30 minutes on LinkedIn is not.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, like, as usual, if you are seeing this now or later and you have any questions for Jack and I, you can reach out to us on LinkedIn. Jack has a whole ton of like resources with Brain Digits. I have a whole ton of resources with the School of Intuitive Leadership. So if there's anything we can connect you with that can help just around this whole topic of taking action and the topic specifically today around personal leadership, please feel free to reach out. And if there's anything that you want us to talk about in the future lives, also send us a message and let us know, and we can dig into that topic one week as well.
Great.
All right, Jack. Well, it was nice hanging out as usual. And
Yeah, same here, Jen.
we will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.